How are we doing today, guys? We've got another edition of the onXRP podcast, and today we have got DJ Culture NFTs. So, how are you doing today, Culture?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Glad to be here. I appreciate your contact and very humble. I'm a big fan of everything that you do and I'm a big fan of the show as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming on today. So, let's up the level and the ante, as to speak. Let's get straight into it. So, DJ Culture NFTs. What is it, Culture?
Well, I sat back when I saw the NFTs, first starting and getting really popular, and I saw kind of how the trend was. I'm known in the music industry as a leader and not a follower of trends. My DJ style of mixing, how I mix, and the type of music that I play. I play global music, so at any time you could hear something from France, hear something from Africa and Australia, all be mixed in at the same time. So I like to push boundaries. So after watching the NFT industry and kind of watching everybody how they followed basically like the apes, everybody had apes and everybody had this and that. I said to myself, it just doesn't, for me personally, it doesn't make sense for people to just purchase digital items. So I said to myself, you know what? I need to create an NFT platform. I have the best team. Shout out to Steven. I need to create an NFT platform that is based on utility, because for me, that is the true form of an NFT that comes with a utility. And just about almost every single NFT on my platform comes with some type of utility, be it you might buy an NFT for my show, and then you get ongoing advertising for on my show for the year. You might buy a Michael Jackson plaque NFT, which is a digital image of the plaque, but then we actually ship you the actual Michael Jackson plaque, which I have on my platform for $1.5 million. I have other Michael Jackson stuff on there. It's all authentic. Another thing is that my Michael Jackson material is in escrow. So this way, when the person purchases the NFT, they know that they can call their lawyer, and their lawyer can call escrow and my lawyer, and everything is done legitimately. I think this process here is the true future of NFTs. If we can perfect the utility, then you're talking about getting NFTs and everything from real estate to cars to everything else that's in the world. So Culture NFTs is focused on utility NFTs. The other thing is, with all of the digital images that you see on on my NFTs platform, they come with a painting, an actual painting. DJ Rudolph is our artist. He's an artist from Asbury Park, New Jersey, here in the States. And when you purchase an actual digital, you get it's a 6 by 5 foot painting that we ship to you. We made a few for David Schwartz, and I actually have his sitting in my office. But so we feel that, and my whole team feels the same way. We really are focused on providing utilities with the actual NFT. That's our whole process.
Wow, I love it. And there's obviously a big synergy with the music industry. So obviously, a lot of people within the industry, I'm assuming, because there's obviously memorabilia at stake here. Could you kind of talk about your spin on it and how you're connecting NFTs to the music industry?
Absolutely. Well, so the first thing is this. I noticed when first starting out that, and this happens in the music industry. In the music industry, the record labels get together and they say, how can we forward promote an artist? And what they mean by that is promoting things that the artist has not done yet. It's an old school way of marketing. It really does not work anymore. Why doesn't it work? Because sometimes the artist, I just hate to say this, sometimes the artist goes left and just doesn't want to do what the label wanted to do. So therefore the news and the marketing that they put out never comes to fruition. Now, I saw this as a pattern in NFTs. I have friends that, like you said, I work with 50 Cent, Cardi B, you name it. The list goes on and on. Busta Rhymes, a whole bunch of different people, even Snoop himself. And the trend that I see is people hiring celebrities to promote their project when the celebrity knows nothing about the project. This is old, it's corny, it's no longer really accepted here in the States too much. the fact is that people are smart, right? You can tell when somebody really knows about the craft, about the industry, and you can also tell when they don't. So the important thing here for me is, as a celebrity, I'm also a tech, so that's what I do. That as my job. I write code, I design mobile apps, I host sites. I own 32 patents on broadcasting in real time worldwide. I even own a patent on a 1-inch server side that I created about 14 years ago. And so I understand the industry, and I'm also a celebrity. So when I am promoting this, I don't like using forward marketing. And what I mean by that is, you're never, from myself, or when I approach Kai, and this is a good and bad. And let me explain. So when you have somebody that you're dealing with that doesn't like to do forward marketing, sometimes it's quiet, right? Sometimes you go by a week or two, a month, 2 months, and it's quiet, and you're saying to yourself, nothing is happening, nothing's going on. Meanwhile, what you're really doing is you're planning, and you're strategizing for when things come back, so that when I announce something, it is real. When I announce something, it is happening. It's not a promise. It's not a maybe. It's not down the street, down the road. It is definitely in stone. And I'm a firm believer that is also going to separate kind of the NFT world between the people who are serious about the market and those who are not, using, I don't want to call it false news, but I'm just going to say that a lot of companies try hype. And here's a perfect example. I know a company, I know a few hundred companies that have hired the Island Boys, right? I'm an Island Boy. They hire these guys to promote themselves. It does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. It doesn't. It gets them zero sales. It doesn't boost any market whatsoever, because the Island Boys following aren't even interested in NFTs, right? You have to market to the proper crowd, and people sometimes think that, hey, if I can get that popular person to say my name, that's gonna work. And I am here to tell you that not only does it not work, but you're going to waste your money and time. The only real way to do this business is to go out and find authenticity, authentic people. They need to understand how the system works, whether they're a singer, a sports figure, whoever they are. They need to sit down and get educated on it. And then, and only then, will they truly be able to enter the market and be productive.
That is fantastic. And how are you looking to kind of bring utility? So you're looking to join artists to NFTs in an authentic utility world, right? So for you, how do
Correct.
you knock that door down to ensure that you're working with the right type of person to ensure that they understand it, and then they're happy, and not just be a promoter? It's not a money grab, to make sure that they're in it
That's
for the
right.
long haul with you as well, Culture.
So, and that's a great question. So, and here's my answer is that, uh, I have a certain reputation in the music industry. Nobody calls me to say, how's the weather? Isn't it nice outside? I just don't get calls like that. If you call me, it's business. That's just how I am. Unless you call me on off hours, seriously, like, don't call me during the day talking about, hey, I bought these nice shirts. It's just not going to go over well, right? So with that said, the people who know me in the industry know that I'm a serious, no nonsense type of guy. So when they do approach me, they understand that, like right now I'm talking to Mixman, I'm talking to DMX's people. These are people who know me and know that I am serious, and know that I wouldn't be involved in any type of, hey, just do me a favor, just throw on an Instagram post and make everybody smile. That's not what we're here for. They would have to meet up with me several times. They would have to meet my team. I would have to take them basically through the same training that I was taken through, and then and only then, because let's be honest, if you truly know the benefits of what's going on here, then you can really focus and do what you came here for. If you don't, then it's missing. You're missing it. Do you know what I mean? You're just saying, yeah, that's great. It's kind of like being on a date with somebody you never see. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's either you know it or you don't. If you don't, you're not really going to be able to take full advantage of the situation, right? So that's the difference. Is the people that know me in the industry know that when I get involved with something, they look at that and they say to themselves, "Wow, that must be serious." You know, before I got involved with NFTs, I heard a lot of people saying it was a hustle, NFT, crypto's a scam, this and that. I heard a lot of people saying that. Once I got involved and started posting on my Instagram, all of a sudden my DMs open like, "Wow, that really works, huh, culture?" That really, that, and I explained to them, yes, it does, and they believe me because they know that I would not be involved with anything that's nickel fritz. So if they see me involved with it, that is kind of like the open door that you're talking about.
Absolutely. One thing with the music industry in particular is obviously the greed of record labels, right? And
Yes,
when an artist is trying to get a wider audience to hear their music, they don't get paid as much as they should do because at the end of the day, it's their content, right? So, are you guys
correct.
looking to kind of do anything from a monetization point of view with music, injecting music and ownership to the artists with NFTs in the future, or?
Well, so there's a trick to this, and yes, it can happen, but there's a trick to this. There's a hat trick. Let's call it a hat trick. There's a hat trick to this, and here's
Mm,
why. So you would have to catch the artist before they sign the deal with the record label.
mm,
Because once they
yeah.
sign the deal with the record labels are smart, man. I mean, they come on, they make hundreds of millions of dollars. They know every I that's dotted, every T that's crossed. Their verbiage is very tricky. Even the greatest of lawyers have problems, reading these contracts. So in order to bring an artist into the NFT market, where it's really going to work, meaning an actual authentic 100%, NFT paid artist, you would have to do that before they got to the record label, because right now the record labels own
Ah,
everything. And for the independent artist, a lot of people don't really understand what that means. Independent artist, you can be an independent artist and still have deals with record labels. That's because you still have distribution, manufacturing, you have all other aspects of the project. So you can still, and they do, and in those contracts are clauses, so that is it seems like a very easy thing, right? It seems like something, hey, just
mm.
artists, just go over, drop what you're doing and go over, but they can't, because they have already signed contracts for 10 years, 5 years, however long it may be. And when that contract's over, then sure, they can go ahead and do that. I have a good friend of mine, you definitely have heard of him. His name is Vanilla Ice, Rob Van Winkle, right? I've known Rob now for like 15, 20 years. And Rob does own all of his own stuff, and he is putting out his own line of NFTs. I'm really trying hard to do work with him, because I don't know if you know this, but Rob owns the rights to the Ninja Turtles. He's the one
Does
who
he?
developed and created the Ninja Turtles. Yeah, so the Ninja Turtle whole royalty thing is incredible. So what he was going to do is he has a whole line of originally drawn Ninja Turtles drawn by hand that him and his friends drew, and he was going to NFT these. So that's what he's working on right now. So see, that's something that's authentic. You have a person who owns his own rights, owns all of his own royalties, all of his publishing, and is now developing his own NFTs, is going to make a profit for it. So he's a perfect example of that actually working right now.
Uh, of taking power back to the artist. That's what I love, is giving power back
Correct.
to the people. Well, $1 million idea here, then. Yeah, we should do something like what is it called? Like America's Got Talent, Culture's Got Talent kind of thing. Yeah, you unearth the next stars and then you then mint their NFTs. We could do
That's what we
something
would
like
have to
that. That's
do.
pretty
That's
cool,
right.
right?
That's exactly what we would have to do. We would have to do our own system, find our own artist, and then introduce that artist, basically put them on a music NFT platform, and that's how they'd make the money. Absolutely. And I do
Wow.
believe that can work. I do. I believe that can work.
And then with the
And
contacts and
not only just
collaboration
work,
and
but
stuff.
yeah, I think it'll work in a big way, because if you really want to be honest, you got to remember, music attracts business, right? So let's say I have a song. This song is gonna, depending on what type of song it is, it could attract a company for a commercial. It could attract a liquor company. It could be a song you play for a car company. So that one song is going to attract all this other business. So when NFTing it, now what you have is you have companies sponsoring the actual platform. So let's say in my case, Belvedere has sponsored me for years. So if I was an artist and I was going to do that, I would have Belvedere sponsor my platform, pay me instead of paying me as the ambassador, which or they still could. They pay me as the ambassador. I put their Belvedere at the top of my site. I include it in my marketing, maybe a logo here and there. I get $150,000 a year just from one company. I could have endless companies on here. Obviously, you don't want to be too tacky and gaudy, but even if you pick 5, you're still making a decent amount of money from sponsors and from the actual NFTs. So I do believe that is going to be the future. But again, the easiest way to do so would be to find artists that are not signed yet. Yeah.
That would be special. That would be really special as well. Do you know what interests me a lot about the project culture is the authentication process of the actual art and obviously of the connection to the artist. Because let's be fair, within the cryptocurrency space and the music industry, there's a lot of piracy, right?
Tons.
And that's the problem, is trust, right? So how do you get around this?
So again, utility NFTs. So I'll tell you this. So our artist DJ Rudolph, you'll see him in the actual photos of some of the NFTs that I have on the platform. And the reason why we do that is to show, and we have videos as well of him painting the actual NFT that's there. So on our platform, you will always, you get a message as soon as you purchase the NFT, and then we do a phone call with you. That phone call is to confirm the addresses, confirm everything. So now we're going to mail you an actual painting. And I've talked about this, because people have approached me, say, Culture, what if somebody steals your Michael Jackson plaque? Culture, what if somebody steals this? I said, how can they steal it? I have it. Well, they can take the thing and they can put it up on. I said, okay, look, here's where and again, this is where I am different from everybody else in the industry, right? If you are the person who's going to put down $1.5 million and just send that money to somebody without seeing any type of escrow, talking to a lawyer, having any type of contact whatsoever, you probably deserve to lose that money, right? I mean, let's be honest. In today's day and age, if you're just going to send out $1.5 million without any authenticity whatsoever, you probably deserve to lose that $1.5 million, right? So when it comes down to it, utility is the confirmation. That's what I believe. And when you think about it, it really is. Because when you just have a digital, yes, people can copy a digital. And quite honestly, when somebody comes to buy it, they could make the same argument as the original owner. And they could say the original owner is the thief, right? There's an argument there. But when you provide utility, meaning you're going to get a painting, that requires a phone call and some type of communication. And if that phone call and that communication or that letter or email or whatever it is that you get after you purchase, if that's not there, then you're beat. So it's just about people doing their own individual due diligence. That's what it really is. Yes, you have people who get talked into it and have money. I've seen it myself. I had a couple of friends that came into the market, just started buying things. They had no idea what they were buying. I said, guys, slow down. You're spending $50,000 for no reason. Nobody knows who this project is. You know what I mean? So, so it is about doing your own diligence and securing authenticity. But again, I truly believe that utility helps fight that. I do.
Absolutely. And now what I'm going to do, I'm now going to rewind. My focus has now gone on to culture. Okay. So talk to me. Culture's growing up, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of starting to get the love for music. When do you remember when really music when you connected to music, and when was that point?
I do. 6 years old. Sneaking my grandmother's stereo. My grandmother had a stereo that was the record player, had an 8-track tape and an AM/FM radio all in one thing, and it was in the living room. And my grandmother would go to sleep at the same time. I live with my grandparents. My grandmother would go to sleep at the same time every night, about 7:30. She was an early bird. 7:30 she'd go to sleep. So what I would do, and I had the kind of grandmother that once she went to bed, that was it, right? You could sneak out of the house, you could do whatever you wanted to do. Well, I'm 6 years old. So basically what I did was I took the stereo from the living room and brought it into my bedroom. And I used to listen to Mr. Magic, DJ Marley Marl, DJ Red Alert, and DJ Chuck Chill Out on 107.5 in the Mr. Magic show. And what I would do is I would take, I was very young, so I didn't have any records. I used to use my grandmother's records, which were just like old 1950s records, 1960s records. No rhythm, just really like obscure type of music, very like weird kind of like pop, hop, dance, diner music, almost like Happy Days music, a little 50s stuff. And what I would do is I would put the record on the top, I'd put the needle on, and then I would take the knob and switch it to FM. I'd listen to Marley Marl mixing, and then I would take it and switch it back to phono, and I would cut the record and then keep switching the knob back and forth as if I was cutting with Marley Marl's show. So that's how I learned how to scratch. And then I studied, just growing up from there, I studied Marley Marl style. A friend of mine, Chili Charles, I grew up with, very good, my best friend. In school, we used to get kicked out of class because we used to mix in the back of the school. He would have a song on his Walkman, and I would have a song, and we used to press the tape with our fingers to slow it down and change the tempo of the song. So we'd be in the back. We always used to get kicked out of class, etc. So we did say back then that one day we would meet Marley Marl, DJ Red Alert, and Chuck Chill Out. And not only did I win that bucket list, but I had actually Marley Marl some years ago, probably about 8 years ago, came over to my house. We had a mix session together, and all three of them ended up being DesertStormRadio.com DJs and working for me. So that is a true story. That's something that, I always think about when I hear people say, when I was small, I said this, and I used to say to myself, I never did that. But then I realized, what? I did. I always used to. Marley Marl was my mentor. He didn't even know it until I got with him and said, hey, listen, you need to come over. We need to mix together. So as you can imagine, as being a 6-year-old kid and listening to this DJ who you thought was you thought at the time was, this is God. He's on top of the world. He's the greatest DJ in the world. And then the next thing you know, he's in my house and we're mixing together, and then he's working for me on my station. It was an incredible thing, man. They're all incredible DJs, incredible people. I still to this day, after all the parties I do, the main reason why I DJ is my love. I fall in love with the crowd, man. I fall in love, literally. It's like it's love. It's there's no other way to describe the feeling. Is you are in control of the audio that's in control of the emotions of thousands of people standing in front of you. And that, to me, there's just nothing greater. I always have, because I spin hip hop too, better than most of the hip hop DJs in this entire country. And what's funny is I have a lot of my friends, they'll say, well, how come you don't do hip? Well, because I don't do strip clubs. I don't do really regular clubs, to be honest with you. And because I have friends that do hip hop clubs, and it's nothing personal. It's just that when I'm in a hip hop club and a certain song comes on, it could cause a fight. A lot of times it does. I've never seen fights at dance parties. You know what I mean? Even when people, what if somebody bumps in? Everybody's bumping into each other. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, people are crowd surfing. It's a party, and that's really my true love is watching the crowd and watching the people have fun,
Oh, that's lovely. And it's nice to hear about that because obviously it's something that you're clearly passionate about, and you're in a privileged position where you can actually share your love with other people, and to see their reaction in a positive way must mean a lot emotionally inside when you see that as well. So now let's talk about one moment. Is there one particular moment where you're on stage where if you took that snapshot, that snapshot would be you in that moment, that one moment where you felt on top of the world? Is there one particular moment you can remember?
There is, but it has nothing to do with on stage.
Let's hear that then. Let's hear it, Culture.
All right, so my kids, my family, for the longest time, we're not a charity, but we're just helping people. You know, we do a lot. I even have an NFT that's a charity NFT where when you purchase the NFT, we take the money from the NFT, we go out, we buy jackets, underwear, socks, shoes, and we go and we hand that out to the homeless. We film the entire process, and then we supply the purchaser of the NFT with a video showing them where their money was spent and how it was spent. That's my concept. I came up with that. So to answer your question, it wasn't on stage. There was a woman who was homeless, and she had plastic bags on her feet as socks, and we were giving away underwear and t-shirts and socks and everything. And she had come up to the table kind of late, and there was a gentleman that came up right before her that took a whole package of socks. It was a package like 8 socks, and it was the last package. And she came up and she said, "Excuse me, sir, do you have any socks?" And I was like, "No, ma'am, the guy just took the last pair." The guy had turned around. This is another homeless man. The guy had turned around, and he broke the package open, and he gave her half the socks. And he was like, "Here you are, ma'am." He was like, "You know what? As a matter of fact, take the other 3 pairs." So he only took 1 pair of socks, gave her the rest. She gave her 7. He kept 1. And she turned around and she looked at me, and she said, and she looked at my son, and she said, "You guys are angels." And out of everything I've ever done in my life, out of every situation I've ever been in, and I've done a lot, man. I've been around the world. I've helped a lot of people in my time. I've never been called an angel. A lot of people think that might be a good thing. It wasn't. It was heartbreaking. It changed my life in a way because I understood what she was saying. We're providing, I get it. However, I'm no angel, dude. I'm no angel. And to be called that by somebody who is just happy to get stocks changed my life. Changed my life. I've had a lot of moments when it comes to homeless. We've been working with the homeless now for when I drive my truck around, Atlantic City and certain towns, they honk or they'll just shout out. It's a great feeling. But I've had a lot of experiences, bad ones, stories of horrifying stories. Anyway, this is the one time where the woman called me an angel. In any other situation, I would have probably felt good, but I didn't feel good. I felt like something bigger than this has to be done. This woman's calling me an angel because I'm giving her socks. There's something wrong here. So then what I did is I went to the town, and now, we have help from different organizations fighting this. And look, it's only a pebble. It's only a pebble in the desert, man. There's homeless people all over the world. But if I can do, my family can do our little tiny bit, that little pebble will matter to somebody, right? One human life is worth it. It's worth our time. And I always tell people, look, if you can help somebody, do it. Don't be greedy. Don't let greed enter your heart or your brain. If you can help somebody in line and you have extra change, you get money, go ahead. Give them the extra money. I'll pay for people's groceries sometimes. And, we have highways here that charge tolls. I'll pay for people's tolls for the car behind me. Just little tiny stuff. Whatever it is, it can always help. And I'm a big believer in community. And which is another reason why I was flabbergasted by what Kai had put together with this whole, the whole platform and everything. And I was like, you know what, we need to contact them. They're along the same lines and the same mind thought that we are. And together, I think this would just be a really good thing. So yeah, man, I mean, I'm sorry to take that kind of left, but yeah, it wasn't on stage. That was the moment that kind of changed me. That's the moment I remember.
That makes complete and utter sense. And I've had similar kind of moments in my life as well, Culture. And when I first started out, I probably started like you from humble beginnings, right? And then everybody has different levels of success throughout life, but the one thing that I from my success is being able to give to others, right, in a charitable way, and that can be on all different levels, right, in terms of holding the door open, saying kind
That's
words,
right.
and giving
Anything.
at different levels,
That's
right?
right.
Anything. It's just making a little impact or a smile on somebody's face on
That's
that
right.
day. And if you can connect to somebody in that way every day, then you can go. You don't have to give all the time,
That's right.
but
That's
I
right.
try to make an impact and become a role model to people as well. Because I believe if there's more good than evil in this world, then it makes the world a better place, right?
Yeah, and I believe that there
So,
is.
talking about making a, yeah, absolutely. Soy culture.
No, I'm saying I believe that there is, like you were saying, I believe that there is a lot. There's more good than evil. I truly believe that. Yeah, people want to get along. You know,
Absolutely.
I always encourage young people to travel because that's something I did at an early age. And when you travel around the world, you realize that there's a few things that are universal, and one of those things I'm involved with is music. I can be in the United States and play Sugar Hill Gang, right? I could play Eighth Wonder by Sugar. Clap your hands, everybody. And I can take that same song. Or I can play MC Hammer, Can't Touch This. Or I can play Michael Jackson Thriller. And then I can go to Australia and play Michael Jackson Thriller. And I can go to Korea, play Michael Jackson Thriller. I go to Japan, play Michael Jackson. And they all respond the same way. Music is universal. That's why I really love it.
Oh man, that's good. And what's the most interesting country you've been to, culture?
Lagos, Nigeria. Lagos, Nigeria.
Yeah. Talk us through your experience. Talk us through your experience. Why?
I get a call. We need a DJ to go out to Nigeria. Jay-Z and Beyonce are going out there and they're putting in a water system in Lagos, Nigeria. And they're starting with these two towns. So I say, okay, no problem. I'll do it. And I said, yes. Okay, great. I'll do it. My assistant calls me 4 days later. He says, okay, so I set up your doctor's appointment. I said, what are you talking about? They said, well, you got to get shots. I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you mean shots? He said, yeah, there's 13 shots that you have to get. 13 shots that you have to get to go to Lagos, Nigeria. I said, there's no way I'm doing that. There's just no way. I said, Jay and Beyonce and the whole team agreed to that. He said, well, I don't know that yet. I said, do me a favor. Call them, call their team, and see if they're taking the shots. So, hey, cool, boom. Calls me back. He says, hey, listen, don't worry about that. I said, what happened? He said, nobody on that team's taking shots. They're flying private, is what it is. So yeah. So anyway, I ended up giving to, so when you say most interesting or like this place, I'm assuming that there's other places like this, but Lagos is the type of place where it's really beautiful and can be really productive. However, just like you were saying, there's good and evil, right? So there's people there who where greed is at the forefront. So we get there, the everything is set up, the water systems are set up, everything is good. However, the governor at the time has kind of like this dinner where because there were so many Americans there, it was a charity dinner, and he was requesting donations. So we said, I think he got a little bit over $200,000. I myself, my company at the time, IVNet, I gave him $25,000. I gave him a check for $25,000. We end up leaving. We leave about a month after that. We get the news that the governor has now ran away with 1 point something million. Nobody can find him. This or that. He took all the dividends from the town, and it's just, so. But as far, I think I have a video up that you can see. It's definitely on my Instagram at The Real Culture, where you'll see kids in Lagos saying, you're listening to the DJ Culture Global Remix Show. So I still send, it's kind of like a little tribe in Lagos. I still send them money on a monthly basis. I'll send them, a couple $100, $500 a month. and they have like a little building there. But what the money I send them, it pays for their internet, right? Because internet is very expensive there, and it's hard to get. But it's a group. It's 4 adults who run a tribe of about 50 kids, man. Clothing, food, the whole 9 yards. And I have myself and a few of my friends. We send them money, and it's a really, again, it's I hate to say it, but it's not really about the music, man. The music's cool and fun is fun and doing parties is great, but I'm really into helping people, dude. I really like the feeling. I love seeing smiles, when because look, we all been through Christmas. We all had a first Christmas. Even if you don't like Christmas or whatever your situation is, your religion is, at some point in your life, somebody gave you something. And when they gave you that, you were happy, right? You were like, this is so cool. And that can happen all up until you pass away, right? You can always be given something to make you smile or help you out. And I think that's my number one thing. Music is definitely number 2 or 3. The first thing on my list is just doing whatever anybody can to put a smile, especially when it comes to kids, man. I'm not going to lie. These kids have internet now, so they can go on Google and you'll be surprised. You'd be surprised. Here in the States, all of our kids here have phones with all kinds of crazy apps. Over there, the kids' internet, what they do is they go on school and they do classes. They start learning law. They start learning serious stuff because the payment and the internet is detrimental. So time is of the essence. You must use, when that internet is on, you must use the time the best way you can, and they use it for learning, which I think is excellent, So yeah, man. I mean, I know I'm dodging a couple of these questions, and they're supposed to be music, but they just keep coming back around to doing things for people,
Well, it is who you are. So you talk a lot about giving to other people and putting smiles on other people's faces.
Right.
Has there been one particular gift that anybody's given you that's put a big smile on your face, Culture?
My wife has given me 5 kids. So the first smile would be the first kid, my oldest, Dorian. And here's another story for you, right? So I meet my wife. We're together for a year and a half. We said, you know what? Let's have kids. We tried. We couldn't. We spent some money. We went to doctors. After like 3 or 4 different doctors, they're like, listen, she can't have kids. There's just reasons she's not going to be able to have kids. True story. I went to talk on off hours. I went to talk to the father of Mount Carmel Church. And he sat down, and at the time, my family was very religious. I am not. I'm still not. But my family was, at the time, Christian. And he said to me, he said, Jimmy, you don't have to have a belief. You just have to have faith. He's like, as long as you have faith, faith will guide you in the proper way. And he enlightened me. I was very hurt. I love this woman. I wanted to have kids with her, and the doctors are telling me I can't. I leave the church. About 3 weeks later, my wife starts morning sickness, starts throwing up. We said, well, you're obviously not pregnant because we just went through that. So you probably just have a cold. Boom. We go to doctor. The doctor says, hey, which is for shits and giggles, let's just try a pregnancy test. She ends up pregnant. We're like, how on earth did this happen? So then we had kids every 2 years after that, on time. Two. I had 5 kids right in a row. Boom, 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 boom. Perfectly healthy, beautiful children. So to answer your question, that was the moment, is when we found out that she was pregnant. That was one of the most important moments of my entire life. Yeah.
Nearly a miracle, right?
Absolutely.
And it's funny how
100%.
we come across what we call miracles,
That's
or
right.
miracles in our life, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you another question now. I know your superstar hero was Molly Mal back growing up, and you've managed to kind of work with them now. But if you had to name someone who you haven't worked with, past or present, who would you love to work with on stage?
I don't mean to sound a certain way, but nobody on stage. Nobody on stage, man.
No?
The stage is mine. The only other one person that would be allowed, that is allowed on the stage when I'm on, is is my student, DJ Good Vibes. DJ Good Vibes is from Toronto, Canada. He's the youngest DJ in Canada, in the United States, that's at the level that he is. I've been teaching him for years now, and because I consider him an upcoming equivalent of my talents, and when I'm on stage, anything goes, and I don't know another DJ that's like that, because I could possibly throw on a classical song and just start mixing house music with it. Anything could happen. And a lot of DJs have formats. You see, that's what makes my show every Friday. Tomorrow's show, every single Friday when I go on, I don't use Serato. And I just like you. You see what makes your show so good? What you said, we're just going to talk. When I go on my show, I have no idea what's going to be played on my show tomorrow night. I just grab a bunch of music, and I freestyle the whole entire show. I have no idea what mixes I'm gonna do. I have no idea what song is gonna come on when I'm playing. You have just as much knowledge as I do of tomorrow night's show. And that's what makes the show good, right? So on stage, nobody, just DJ Good Vibes. That's it. However, I do have somebody that I idolize. Jerry Rice from the San Francisco 49ers. If I could sit down, it's my bucket list. If I could just meet him just one time, that would make it for me, because Jerry Rice to me is, and I know this might sound corny, I don't mean to sound corny, but he's the perfect man. He's when you look up man in the dictionary, there should just be Jerry Rice. He should just be smiling at you with a thumbs up, right? Because he's an incredible father. He's an incredible mentor. As far as work ethic goes, I don't really know anybody else who has a work ethic like the man. Integrity, just everything is high level, and I would give anything to just meet that guy just one time, shake his hand face to face. That would mean everything. Yeah. Jerry Rice.
Good choice. Good choice. So now I'm going to talk about somebody who's in connection with the project, right? Someone who's very special to me, and obviously a very close friend, a mutual friend of both of us, right? Kai, talk to me about your dealings with Kai, the man from onXRP, and kind of you guys reached out. You liked what those guys were doing, but talk about obviously what that was like.
Kai's a star. I didn't know that. He was on the that HBO series. What was it called? They always say there's a series on HBO, and I didn't notice at first. So here's a funny story. When I first talked to Kai, I talked to him first without seeing him, and then I saw him. And my first inclination was like, he kind of looks like the guy from, I forget the name of it, but they always like post it on his gram. It's a show that's on HBO with like Lords and all this. I forget the name of it, but it was hysterical, because I said, you know what? At least somebody else said that. He looks just like the guy. Kai is a special guy. And here's why. When Kai first approached us and we first spoke to him, he didn't mention anything about business. His conversation was, I really like people. I want to help people. The conversation was right up our alley. And before we even talked, I didn't even know anything about XPUNKS. I didn't know any of that stuff. So before we even got to that, he expressed his person, and I knew that it wasn't a strategy. I knew that I could tell it was authentic, because I've been I've been around, and that was the most important thing to me, man. I thought that was like super awesome that somebody would explain their person first before business, because every time especially with me. Got culture. We got money dropping from the heavens, and we got this, and they talk like that. And I thought it was really cool that Kai just didn't, he was like, no, he was like, look, we've worked hard. We've done this. My team is this, XYZ. We've done our diligence, and I was like, wow. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm talking about, So I have found this. Number ones find each other. Russell Simmons said that from Def Jam, the owner of Def Jam, well, the old owner of Def Jam, Russell Simmons, brother of Run DMC. He said that always. He said number ones find each other, and I'm a believer in that. Just like I told you, I don't. It's nothing personal. I just don't want anybody else on stage. I feel that I'm number one, so it's just how it is. So I'm not going to look for a number 2 or 3, right? Because I have ideals that you've heard already. And when I find other people that have those same ideals, it just so happens, hey, Kai, you're number 1 too. So yeah, it was, our introduction was, I wish all of my introductions were like that, because he explained his person before he spoke business. I thought that was very important. How about yourself?
Me and Kai first spoke, and we're very similar. We share personality traits which are quite common, and it's like almost like 2 lost brothers who have just been reunited, and we just got on like a house on fire straight away. Right. And basically he come over to the UK not last week, the week before. And it was the first time that we had met each other in real life, even though we'd spoken many times over the phone and via Zoom and all the conferencing apps, right? And it was the strangest moment, because it felt as if I already knew him and we shared that love for one another, right? And just a cool dude who I just instantly got on well with. And the one thing that is why he's special is because you can feel his love for others straight away. And it's not business. Business is second. It's about the person first, and then business comes after. And that's the main impact that Kai made on me as an individual.
Yeah, and his understanding of what I was speaking on earlier, as far as not throwing just shade in news, because he'll call me and he'll ask me, he'll say, hey, Culture, is there anything going on? And I'll tell him, I'll say, look, I'm working on this, I'm working on that, but I'm not, again, there's no release of information until something's in stone. And when you put it in stone, that's when you can go with it. And I appreciate him for that too, because I've had other companies get at me and just, again, can we get the Island Boys? And I'm like, guys, it's not going to work for you. It's not going to do what you think it's going to do. We want to get him anyway. Okay, go ahead and do what you want to do. You know what I mean? So I really applaud Kai for, sticking to it and really following kind of my lead on that, when the time is right, that's when it's done, and not until then, so that's another cool factor about the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there anything that you want to kind of leave as a finishing kind of message to the audience today, Culture?
Do your diligence when it comes to anything having to do with the market. Do your diligence. Do not buy into hype. Hype is the enemy. Hype is going to probably lose you money and probably take your investments down the tube. Do not believe hype. That's why it's called hype, right? Look at facts, study facts, look into facts. And I would say, for the real benefit of the market, start getting more involved in utility. Really, find a utility, and don't make it one where it's just gonna, utility is you put the money in your pocket. That's not a utility, right? We're talking something cool, a painting, an item. Here's just one quick last thing, is that I'm currently working with one of the biggest sneakerheads here in the United States, and he has a collection of over 10,000 Nike Air Force Ones. And when people buy used sneakers, which they do all the time because they're sneakerheads, so there's different sneakers that are considered collector's editions, up until now, you had no idea where those sneakers came from. So 50 Cent or Michael Jackson himself could have wore those sneakers, and you have no idea who has it. So what I'm doing is I'm developing a system to bring in Nike Air Force Ones and all type of sneaker and shoe collections into NFTs so that people could see who the previous owner of the actual sneakers were. And that creates a higher profit margin for the actual sneaker, because if 50 Cent owned the pair of Air Force Ones, they're going to be worth more than they normally would be worth. And this is, again, utility, people. So I to leave you out, get involved with NFT utility. That's where it's at. Lee, you're the boss, dude. You're
Absolutely. And
Superman,
you can
brother.
go straight over to, thank you, my man. Thank you, my man. And DJ Culture NFTs, and Culture yourself, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. I hope the audience has enjoyed this conversation as much as I have, and I hope it's the first of many. And I'm looking forward to seeing further utility that you guys are bringing. So, guys, over and out for today's episode, and I'll see you again shortly.